Okay, boys and girls, welcome back for the last video of this segment. So we have our written form, which is basically just using words. So written form is using words. We're going to write this number that we've created above in words. We're going to go ahead and put our models together now, and then we're going to write our decimal and fraction form of this number. So let's get started. So when we're thinking about writing the written form of this value that's represented, we want to start with our beginning digit. Our beginning digit is the number 1. So we're going to write the word 1. We want to show that there is a decimal. So we're going to use the word and to write that decimal. We never want to write the word decimal. We want to write the word and to show that there's wholes and pieces. And then we're going to write this as the way that we see it. 258 is the first part of that number. So we're going to start with 200. 58, and I like to think of that as like the first name, 258, and the last name is going to be the digit the 8 falls in. So it falls in the thousandths place, so 258 thousandths. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to shade my model, putting all of that from above together. So we know that we have the number 1, so we're going to go ahead and shade all of this whole model here. And if I happen to move too fast for you, you can always pause the video to catch up. The next piece of this would be the 2/10. So I'm basically going to shade 2 of these. So I'm going to shade all the way down my 2/10. Even though I see it's already broken down into thousandths, we're going to go ahead and shade in our 2/10 first. Okay. When I think about our hundredths, we have 5 hundredths. So I'm going to go ahead and shade in 5 of the hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then finally we have our 8 thousandths. So I'm going to shade in those last 8 thousandths. So if you need me to zoom in, I'll zoom in for you, and you can see that we have 5 in the first row, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so your model should look like my model, and if you need to, you can pause the video to catch up. The last part of this is just writing it in standard form again, and we want to write it as a decimal and a fraction, a lot like we practiced in our small group table on Monday. So our decimal form is 1 and 258 thousandths. Make my little place value marks. So I know everything needs to have a place. The 1s is the 1, 2s in the tenths, 5 in the hundredths, 8 in the thousandths. And we're going to put that equal sign because we know that they are equal, or they're equivalent to each other. We're going to write that fraction form. So the 1 gets to stand all by itself. we know that we're in the thousandths place, so I'm going to go ahead and write my denominator first, 1,000, and I have 258 of those thousandths. So there's my fraction form of that number. Now what you're going to do is you're going to keep this as your model. These are basically your notes for writing all place value representations. We have our standard form, we have our expanded form, we have our expanded notation, our word form, model, decimal, and fraction. So what I should see you doing now is taking this paper and folding it in half like a hamburger. We're going to put glue on only 1/2 of our model. We're going to take our jam out and we're going to turn to the page right past our notes. So we made those place value notes in our journal. We're going to turn to the very next page in our journal, the one on the back, and we're going to go ahead and glue this down there. Okay? When you've done that, raise your hand and I'll come by and I'll check over your notes so that I can give you the next piece of our assignment.